Today I fucked up by checking my dead grandpa's laptop. I am absolutely freaked out right now. My grandpa died a bit over a year ago. Today my grandma had me see if his old laptop still worked. I plugged it in and turned it on. I wanted to see if the keyboard worked normally, so I opened Google and typed in the letter B. Right as I did that, best Chinese porn popped up. Holy shit, what do I do? I've only heard stories of this. I couldn't help myself. I checked the search history. Porn everywhere. Nothing but porn. Japanese stuff, Russian stuff, mommy kink, piss kink, everything. He didn't use this laptop for anything else but porn, and occasionally potato salad recipes. Of course everyone can watch what they want if it's legal, but I never would have thought that about my grandpa. He was always just a sweet old man. Too long did not read. Checked dead grandpa's laptop and found all kinds of porn on there. Freaked out. Edit. Traumatized is too much of a strong word for how I felt. This was also originally posted on r/teenagers, so my feelings are a bit exaggerated. I don't need therapy and I understand that masturbation and watching porn is natural. Still shocked though. There is either nothing here or just this link. When my great-grandpa passed when I was 18, we were cleaning out his basement and found cases and cases and cases of old movie reels and a working projector. All nasty 1950s-60s porn. None of it was dusty. My mom still has that collection stashed until she figures out where to find an antique porn collector. That shit should be in a museum at this point. If this is what you consider traumatizing, you must have a blessed life. Share that banger of a pea salad recipe, please. Did he have a laptop solely dedicated to porn, or was watching porn all he did in his free time? Loudly crying skull. Brocode says you delete everything and move on with your day. I mean, if he was trading kitty porn pics that would be a thing, but he is gone now and that apparently is not the case. Let that crap be cleaned up and forgotten about. Today I fucked up by opening Reddit in public. Earlier I opened up Reddit while sitting in the car wash waiting room for my car to be ready. At the same time I was kinda distracted by these two kids running around the fish tank, naming the fish and doing their best fish impressions. Cracked half a smile because it was just wholesome and cute. Looked back down at my phone and at the top of my feed was a video that had been playing for about 20 seconds of a Japanese chick fucking herself with a dildo while taking multiple loads to the chest. I was on my alt account the night prior doing academic research, and I forgot to switch back over. The woman next to me was staring at me in disgust. She just saw me smiling at someone's kids with graphic bukkake porn playing on my phone. I need a new detailer. I can't ever go back. Too long did not read. I had porn playing on my phone and someone else saw. I'm also somewhat of an academic. There's a simple fix: set the video to not autoplay. Will save you a lot of shame in future. While doing academic research was the best part. Tears of joy, tears of joy, tears of joy. Sorry that happened, bro. What subreddit is it so I know to avoid it? And that is why you enable the option to blur not safe for work content until you tap on it. I was on the train and when I saw this I had to start furiously masturbating. Everyone else gave me strange looks and were saying things like, "What the fuck?" and "Call the police." I dropped my phone and everyone around me saw this image. Now there is a whole train of men masturbating together at this one image. This is all your fault. You could have prevented this if you had just tagged this post not safe for work. Today I fucked up by thinking I could power through norovirus and instead became a human slip and slide. As the text states, this is about the time norovirus tried to wipe out our entire household in under an hour. It started with our daughter getting sick first. She was so tiny and dehydrated we had to rush her to the ER for fluids. While we're sitting there watching her slowly come back to life with an IV, my husband and I kept glancing at each other with that quiet, unspoken panic like, "Do you feel okay?" Which of course was immediately followed by both of us trying to gaslight ourselves into believing it was just sympathy nausea. Totally fine. We're fine. This is fine. But then, in what I now recognize as the dumbest moment of overconfidence in our marriage, we decided to ask the doctor if they could maybe give us a little something to just, in case we started feeling bad. I said it as casually as possible, like I was asking for ketchup packets. The doctor laughed. Actually laughed. Not a polite chuckle, but a full, haha no, like we'd asked for shots of Fireball to go. So we took our daughter and left, still trying to pretend we weren't both already starting to descend into gastrointestinal hell. We got to the car, and while I buckled our little biohazard angel into her car seat, my husband got into the driver's seat, gripped the wheel, and just froze. I asked him if he was okay, and he muttered something like, yeah, I'm fine, with the wide-eyed expression of a man who was absolutely not fine. Then, without warning, he leaned out of the open door and violently erupted onto the parking lot pavement. Like full body heaving, soul leaving the body levels of vomit. It wasn't cute. It wasn't discreet. It was The Exorcist, except in front of God, security cameras, and probably a couple of nurses on their smoke break. When it was over, he wiped his mouth, stared straight ahead with dead eyes, and said with the grave seriousness of a man who's accepted his fate, "We're going home." So now he's driving us the 3 minutes home like a war veteran returning from the front lines, windows down, hands gripping the wheel, the car thick with tension and the faint smell of Gatorade and regret, while I sat there next to him clutching the diaper bag and silently praying my own stomach wouldn't betray me before we made it back. We got home. I threw our tiny agent of chaos into her crib like a football and heard my husband immediately disappear into the downstairs bathroom where he started making noises so horrific I'm convinced they permanently damaged our pipes. Meanwhile, upstairs, I started to feel the telltale rumblings in my stomach, and in my infinite wisdom, I thought a hot shower might fix it because water cures everything, right? Spoiler. It absolutely did not. I quickly became a human slip and slide of regret, slipping between the toilet and shower in a loop of agony, crying, sweating, and praying for the sweet release of death while my body attempted to evacuate itself from every available orifice. At some point, my husband, the pale, sweaty, and barely upright shell of a man he was, crawled upstairs like a zombie from The Walking Dead and peeked into the bathroom to check on me. I tried to say, "I'm okay," but instead my body betrayed me completely and I unleashed a cinematic wave of projectile vomit in the shower like I was auditioning for The Exorcist reboot. In that moment, I knew we were both done for. In a last act of desperation, I grabbed my phone with trembling, vomit-streaked hands and posted in my neighborhood Facebook group asking if anyone at all, had nausea meds they could spare before this house officially became a CDC case study. Bless one angel of a neighbor, who replied immediately with, "I have some Zofran, I'll hang it on the doorknob for you." So I somehow dragged myself to her house like a feral raccoon, puked in her yard, "I'm so sorry if you find this, I couldn't exactly leave a note," grabbed the meds, and drove back home. I threw a pack at my husband like I was passing him a live grenade in an action movie, took one for myself, and then collapsed naked and wet in the shower like a sad, forgotten rotisserie chicken. The moral of the story? If your kid ever gets norovirus, don't even try to be strong. Just burn your house down, fake your death, and start over. Too long did not read. Baby got norovirus and took us both out. Husband puked in the parking lot. I tried to shower it off and became a human slip and slide. Neighbor saved us with nausea meds I retrieved mid-puke. I lost nearly 10 kilograms in 3 days when I had norovirus. I started at just under 90 kilograms and 72 hours later weighed just under 80 kilograms. I spent almost the entire time in a bathroom, while my wife brought me water and any semblance of nutrition I could manage, bites of fruit, mouthfuls of cereal. I have never felt anything like it. I can see how it can easily kill babies or the elderly. I have norovirus right now. I'm typing from approximately my 20th poop in the last 36 hours. My butt hurts. The Imodium, it does nothing. I lost so much weight when I had norovirus, and I got it at the fucking psych ward loudly crying I was dying and had no care. They just told me to thug it out fr. I was dying so much that nobody in there could sleep, so they finally gave me a shot in the ass and after a bit I finally had peace lol. It almost killed me. Swept through our town and church like an angel of sewage. Started with my daughter, who projectile vomited out of the blue into my face right before bedtime. Then me and my wife caught it together. I was so weak I couldn't stand, lost something like 15 pounds in 2 days. Still haunts me. You should really be an author or at least a writer. My sympathies, but I've never laughed so hard. Tears of joy. I had it as a kid, in 8th grade. A couple hours later my sisters had it, then my parents. Coincidentally, I'm visiting the family and am in the very room where I was puking into the bowl about 3.5 decades ago. I remember it like it was yesterday. We all managed to make it to the restrooms as needed. That was a miracle in itself. Today I fucked up by playing Cuphead with my 4-year-old daughter. First, obligatory, this didn't happen today, but last week. Now, for those unaware, Cuphead is a video game where you run around in a 50s Disney art-style game shooting finger guns at opponents to beat them. Before we go any further, I want to preface that there is a kids show based on this game on Netflix, which was her introduction to the franchise. Now, the game is cutesy looking, but has some mildly darker implications, as the whole premise is that you are collecting the soul contracts of the bosses you defeat to give to the devil. These undertones aren't anything a child would reasonably pick up on though, and honestly is very tame as far as appearances and violence and whatnot. We got to the last level, which is defeating the devil, but first he asks if you're going to hand over the contracts per the character's agreement with him from the beginning of the game. I was curious about the result. It was a yes or no answer, which is the only time they offered a choice like this. so I took a second to look it up. It probably would have taken me about 10 seconds in total to make sure I didn't make a bad choice here for her sake. As I am doing this, having warned my daughter to give me a moment to look into it, she starts button mashing and selects. Yes, spoiler-free result. A very creepy end game screen, with accompanying music that made my daughter not want to play the rest of the night. Spoiler full result. The next screen shows Cuphead, Mugman, and Chalice, the playable characters of the game, essentially zombified with spooky expressions, sharp teeth, and fire surrounding them, less than. The title screen music was also creepy when I tried to jump back into it. She refused to play anymore that night, but luckily the next night asked me to help her defeat the devil. This was only last week, and she's already back to playing it with me, but I still felt pretty bad about it. Also, for those asking that are familiar with the game, yes, of course it's too difficult for her to actually reasonably play. I had cheats turned on for her sake so she could get through the whole thing and have fun. Too long did not read. Played a cutesy looking game with dark undertones with my 4Y. Daughter, ended up scaring her into not wanting to play the rest of the night. ETA. For clarification's sake, the show does not follow the same storyline or most plot points as the game. The only part that's somewhat similar, that I can recall, is at the end. Chalice's soul is taken by the devil, and Cuphead beats the devil in rock paper scissors to get her soul back. Otherwise, most episodes are standalone entries, and many include run-ins with the various bosses of the game, but without any fights. I just want to know how the hell you got to the final boss playing multiplayer with a 4-year-old. I need those cheats. How in the heck could you get that far in the game with a 4-year-old? It's so freaking hard. In Simpsons comic guy voice. Actually, I would call that 30s style art. I can't imagine how you must have felt. We once got too far into Hollow Knight with my niece, and she was terrified for days. I think it's adorable that you were playing with your 4-year-old daughter. I am amazed you were playing such a difficult game with her. On the other hand, the colorful cartoony graphics are perfect for small children. Glad she didn't suffer long-term fears from the ending. I mean, it's kinda her fault for button mashing. Good lesson.